Hello, I'm Sally, I'm from Plush Folly, and today I'm going to teach you how to make a range of cosmetics from home. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a homemade candle. The wax we're using is soy wax. This is quite a soft wax, so when you burn the candle it needs to be in a container, and any heat-proof container will do. I'm filling up my clean, dry tin with enough wax. I use tins because I can recycle them afterwards. It is possible to melt this in a glass jar, but it's quite difficult to clean up. To melt my wax, I'm just going to pop my tin into a water bath. I've got a small baking tin with some water in it, and while that's melting, we'll work on the mould. Our mould needs to have a wick. Now this mould is about 70 centimetres across, so the size of wick I've chosen is a medium wick. Any smaller and you may find there's too much wax and it will keep putting the flame out. Any bigger and the flame will be too big and cause too big a flame to burn in your candle. I'm taking about twice the height of the mould, which is a little generous but a lot easier to play with in wick. And now I have to thread the wick through this little metal object called a sustainer. You might have seen these when your night light has burnt out, because they're what hold the wick in place in a night light as well, or a tea light. Okay, I'm just using a cocktail stick to poke the wick through. And now I'm going to bring the sustainer the wick right down to the bottom of the sustainer, and that is going to be popped into my container. But I need to have something on here to hold it in place, otherwise when I pour wax in it, it's just going to float around. So I have a little sticky piece of white tack, and I'm just going to stick that to the bottom. Can you see it's not only holding the wick in place, but it's now going to stick it onto my glass. And I need to get the sustainer as central as possible, because I want my flame to burn up the middle of my candle. That looks quite central to me. Now we have a problem, because when I let go of my wick, it's going to be all floppy and may want to fall back into my candle. So I need something that's going to hold the wick in place. Now it is possible to wrap it round and tie it round a pencil, but what I've done is taken one of these little wooden stirrers and just attached it at either end with a very small elastic band. If I prise it open and push the wick through, I end up with a very neat little way of holding my wick in place. So that's now ready for us to put the melted candle wax in. My wick is central and my wick is held in place. We have completely melted wax in here. It's all nice and hot and liquid. Before I pour it though, I would like to add some essential oils, and I've chosen lemon, mandarin and basil. Using essential oils rather than fragrance oils will keep this 100% natural. I'm going to add 2 grams of each of these oils, so we get an equal blend of all 3 of them. And the smell coming off the tin and the candle is absolutely gorgeous. Okay. Give that a stir to make sure it's thoroughly mixed in. And now we're ready to pour. I'm going to pour down the gap here very carefully. Because I've secured my wick with a sustainer, it shouldn't start floating into the candle. Now all I need to do is exercise some patience and allow that to set. Our candle has been sat for about an hour and a half, and during that time it's set beautifully. There are just 2 things we need to do now to make it ready for burning. One is to remove these sticks, and the other one is to trim the wick. Now I can do both of those at the same time. If I just snip below the wick, the candle, although it's still slightly soft, is now ready for burning, although I'd be tempted to leave it for another few hours just to harden off nicely. And that's how you make a homemade candle.